Hi there, it's Jan here, and in today's session I'm going to show you 3 important tips that will massively help your forehand. So every day I work with my adult club tennis players, and I have all the levels from beginners over medium to advanced level tennis players. And I usually work in very important areas which I focus a lot on the legs, how to use the body, how to use the correct biomechanics, basically just what the tennis pros do, and I'm trying to apply it into the game of my players. But there is always a very common pattern that I want to address in today's session. So this is basically going to be covered with these 3 tips. So I'm addressing these 3 main issues. And if you start focusing on this, if you fix these issues, I'm sure it's gonna massively help your forehand. So let's get into it right now. So the tip number 1 is this one. Let's make a bit of space here. Usually in a first session with my players, I just let my players play to see what they have. And many times, maybe this is also your issue, but if it's not perfect, if it's your issue, this tip is already for you also. So the tip number 1 is try not to be too much upright here when you're standing, okay? So again, we're going back to basics, but again, you will be surprised how much this works for basically every player I work with. So I always tell them low position. So everybody has to start from this low position, and not just in the preparation, but we're trying to stay there when we move as low as possible. Obviously, not too low so you're not able to move. You have to be able to move. So it has to be the position that works for you, okay? So when I play, for example, my tennis, I'm kind of like this. And in this position, I'm still able to move to the side and nicely, yeah? Because if I was too low, then I'm stuck. Then of course, then it's counterproductive. So you want to be productive, it has to work for you. So I'm kind of keeping this position. And the idea is, when I get to that forehand, I'm still there, but at the end, I really want to go down in those legs, in those knees. So if you train with me, you know, I always say, bend your knees, bend your knees. So this is the one. This is so important. This is the tip number 1. You want to go down your knees, hold that balance, yeah? And you want to start going from those legs, basically. This is so important, which we're gonna cover basically in the second step, because if you miss the tip number 1, which is the correct use of the legs again and the knees bent, basically. So this will be the knees bent, yeah? Then you're not able to do the second step, which I'm gonna get into it right now. So the step number 1, the tip number 1 is the knees bent, okay? So we have the knees, low position, balance position, that's the goal, yeah? From this position I can do the correct weight transfer. And now the tip number 2 is connected with this, because if I'm not able to do this position, at low position, yeah? Then I am not able to do what? Comment below. Then I'm not able to do the right weight transfer. Basically, I'm not able to go into that ball with the body. Because again, lots of players, they train with me, they standing like this on the court, ball's coming to them, and they do this. They are moving backwards, they're losing the balance, they're not transferring the weight, they are hitting something like this without control. And they actually, on the contact, they move back instead of moving into the ball. So we have the knees, balance position, knees, and then I have to make sure that I go into the ball. Because this is how you're gonna be controlling the ball, by going in. See, all the pros, they all do it. Well, again, whatever technique you have, but the biomechanics have to be there. There's a difference between technique and biomechanics. Every player looks slightly different, but they all follow those biomechanics. They all go down in the knees, they're all using the body correctly, they're all doing the right weight transfer at the right time. That's also very important. And now we're gonna get into the tip number 3. So we covered the knees, we covered the weight transfer. Tip number 3, again, for me super important, relaxed arm. As relaxed as possible, up to the point when your racket obviously is not falling. You don't want to be too loose, I'll say always. But you don't want to be rigid, you don't want to be stiff, basically. And a lot of players, they come here, sometimes they even do the 1 and 2 correctly, but then they come and they are too stiff. Like this. If I exaggerate a little bit, really stiff. So I always say, loosen up, super loose, super loose. This is the weight that you want to throw into the ball. Think about it as a hammer. This will only work if this arm is relaxed. Look at ball fields, for example, how loose he is. I know it is not super easy for beginners to do this. When I work with beginners, I don't recommend to be super loose. But when you've been more medium to advanced level, you want to start working on being as relaxed as possible. One more. So when I'm relaxed, you can also see completely different sound. Super nice, letting the racket go. Hop, hop, hop. Super relaxed. Finding the ball in front, of course. This is just to find the ball in front. This is actually the consequence of doing those first 3 steps correctly. Also, so I'm getting the position, I'm bending the knees, transferring the weight, going into the ball, relaxed arm, and then I'm finding the ball in front. As much as possible. Again, not too far. Here you are disconnected. But I always recommend that kind of handshake position. You know me already. So this one. Okay. So, the exercise for the relaxed arm, obviously you can also go to the tennis ball and you're trying to hit the ball with your arm relaxed until the point when you still feel the control. So of course, if I'm gonna be hitting something like this, there is no control. Now it's too loose, obviously. It's too loose. If the wrist starts moving on the contact, that's not good. That's again counterproductive. So you want to make sure that the wrist is quite firm, but the rest of the arm has to be relaxed. So you can swing it, but still having that stability there, of course. That's, again, will be another session, not another video. So, focus on these 3 steps. We got the knees bent, we got the body going forward into the ball, basically the correct weight transfer, and relaxed arm, as relaxed as possible. But of course, there are much more steps when it comes to the forehand. So if you want to learn much more, there is much more things happening, much more biomechanics. If you want to dive into the details, make sure to check out my free Forehand Masterclass. There's a link below. I'm gonna look forward to see you in. And also, if you want to train with me, make sure to check out my website, gmtennis.net, or check out one of my intensive tennis training weeks that are organized in Costa, Brava, Sicily, Portugal, Barcelona, and more locations. So, lastly, if you did like this session, make sure to like it, make sure to comment, share with your friend who can also benefit from this. I'm gonna look forward to see you in the next session for more. Thanks for watching and have a great day.